Shalom. Thanks for joining me today. This story is about me being a bit directionally challenged. And as usual, I have got a backstory before I get into the main story. When I was small, young, this is say this younger, I'm saying like 3, 4 years old, and my mom would take me on outings with her, and sometimes we would go on the bus when we were in Detroit, Michigan. And so she would, before we would leave the house, she would say, Sharon, we're going out today, and I don't need you talking to anybody. So you just stay with me and you be quiet, okay? Because I was quite gregarious little child. So I think I made it to the bus stop and on the bus, and then it just couldn't help myself. Across the aisle, I saw somebody say, "Hi, lady, how you doing?" you know, I'm just talkative. So and wasn't shy about it, and just cheerful um, child. So one day, and I guess I must have been. I'm thinking 3 or 4 because I'm pretty sure I wasn't in school at the time. Our family went to Edgewater Park. And Edgewater Park was in Detroit or right on the outskirts of Detroit. It was a 23-acre park full of amusement rides and things like that. And we went out there, was a big family outing, and we were picnicking out there in the picnic area or whatever. And that park is no longer there, but it was known for like they had a gigantic 110-foot wooden roller coaster, and you can find pictures of that on Google, which I did this morning, and it was called the Wild Beast. Well, I don't remember all the details, but what I do remember quite well was kind of wandering around and by myself, and somebody saw me and took me to the grandstand. Okay, and so um, the announcer got on and announced this little girl. I don't even know if I could have told them my name. I would hope that I could tell them my name by 3 or 4. Okay. And they announced over the announcement, we have this child, Sharon, who was lost, and will her parents please come and get her? Because I was just out there having a good time and had wandered off and talking and whatever to people. I'm going to tell you that's a very dangerous thing. But this was in the early 50s, okay, that it was a more community and family like situation. And I tell you, I don't remember being frightened. I don't remember being beaten. My mom, when she finally got me, she probably was just so relieved that she had found me, okay? So I just got disoriented in my gregariousness, all right? And that also reminds me, Zoe is a bit like that too, but Zoe's very directionally uh, wired, okay? Because she doesn't really get lost. She goes away, and we think she's lost, but Zoe's not lost, okay? And because I remember when she was about the same age, we went on a family reunion in Niagara Falls, and so we had a lot of rooms, and we were there all just kind of talking with her. And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't even notice my child was gone. Okay, somebody walked up to me and said, "Is this your daughter?" It's like, oh, yes, yeah, yeah, yes, it is. And sometimes children get away from you. But that ain't no excuse for not paying better attention. Okay, now we're gonna fast forward to adulthood, and there have been every so often times when I have gotten lost, and it's not so much driving, um, but in parking lots when I walk around trying to find my vehicle. And my always plan B is I take out my fob and I just keep pressing it and walking around until I find my vehicle because it's making noise. Okay. Well, let me see. This was like a couple of weeks ago. By the time this aired, it'll probably be like a month ago. Um, Zoe and I went to Costco. And so in the Costco, we ran into my employer. And that's Arthur. Many of you may know him, but he's the overseer and apostle at Arthur Bailey Ministries, and I work there as his administrative assistant. Arthur has a lot of hats that he wears in terms of my relationship with him. He is first my employer, okay, and then pastor, then apostle, and friend may come somewhere down here because I'm always aware I work for this man, okay. So when I saw him in Costco, we just kind of said hi and we made ahead, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds of just kind of friendly banter or whatever. And we just kind of moved on and ran into him two or three more times and just walked past and just kind of nodded or whatever. Now, when we got to the counter, I had an item that was a pharmacy item, and I wanted to pay with it with my over the counter um, benefit card that I got from Medi- Medicare. Okay. And so they said, oh, no, you can't purchase this here. You have to go to the pharmacy to be able to get it. So I told Zoe, I said, well, you want to go over there with me or whatever. You just go on and, but anyway, we decided that she would go on to the back to the van and unload all the stuff that we had bought. And I would go to the pharmacy and then come and meet her at the van. So when I left the pharmacy and they would not take it, they said they hadn't started taking those cards as yet, but maybe they would at some other time, but they didn't know. On my way out the door, I see Arthur standing in the customer service line, okay, at Costco. So I just said hi, and they don't use those cards here anymore. They haven't started using those cards here as yet, and I went on out the door. So I didn't have anything with me other than, my purse that was hanging, across my body. And so when I got outside, I'm trying to figure out where's the van. Okay. Now, when I got out the van, what I try to do is find a landmark. Okay. So what I see it when I got out the van is, oh, I'll know where I come back to because we parked near a stop sign. Okay. But if anybody been out to Costco, there's a lot of stop signs out there, okay? I just don't know what I was thinking. So I said, well, maybe it's over this way. And so I started walking because I knew we were at the edge because I went in like to park near the edge, but there's a lot of edges in that parking lot at Costco. And so I started walking over in one direction, started walking toward the left, and I didn't really see it. And it starts to get kind of cool out there. And so I had on a hooded jacket. So I pulled the hood up over my head and cinched it, and I'm still walking around. So after I walk around for a minute or so, I said, well, let me call Zoe because I had my phone. And when I called her, she didn't answer. And at the time, I found out that she didn't answer because she had gone to take the cart back to the cart rack. And so when she got back to the car, and I'm still walking around, she did call me back. And when she called me back, somehow I had moved from the left going over to the right, and then I could see where she was. So when I got back over to the car, she, she's like, like, how you get lost? And so I said, that ain't the main thing. I said, Arthur was there standing in the customer service line, and I'm so glad that he didn't see me out there wandering around this parking lot. Okay. No sooner than I say that, I get ding 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 a little text on my phone. Okay. And the phone and the thing said something like, I'm glad you found the van and Zoe because it looked like you were wandering around the parking lot. Okay. So when I just fell out laughing. And so I said, well, Ma, you didn't look too suspicious with that hood pulled up over your head, too. And sometime later, I did talk to Arthur. He said, now, Costco got stop signs at the end of every one of them aisles, you know? So, anyway, I had a little directionally challenged situation there. But I didn't fret. And And I knew the Father was gonna is always protecting me, and I have to always understand that, and that He was gonna get me back to where I needed to be. I hope you've enjoyed the story, and always have a plan B if you go somewhere and if you happen to be a bit directionally challenged yourself. Shalom. Remember, like and share and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks.